Hey everybody, welcome to Pack 1 Pick 1 number 220 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and we are here. We are here with a Theros pack. No more Eldraine. We're going to crack this open, and we're going to talk about what we would pick Pack 1 Pick 1 if this was a draft. This is not just a crack it open, see what I got. This is a discussion about what we would take if this was a draft. Now, each week over at patreon.com/themanaleek, everybody who is at the $5 level or above gets a chance to get all the cards out of this pack, or none of the cards, some of the cards, whatever they happen to want. Not every pack is a winner. As well, this season, we will have two collector's packs of Theros Beyond Death on this series. This week, it's a normal one. Who knows when those two will happen. Anyways, let's open this up, see what's in it, and see what we would take Pack 1 Pick 1 if this was a draft. And this one's going to Daniel M. Up first, we have ourselves a Leonin of the Lost Pride. Leonin of the Lost Pride is 1 and away for a creature cat warrior. It's a 3/1, and when it dies, you exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. It's a totally fine card. It's nice and aggressive, but it does get blanked by those X4s that are running around. But when it does get blanked and dies, exiling an escape creature is fantastic. So Leonin of the Lost Pride is fine, but it's not a card that I'm first picking ever. Up next is Triton Wave Rider. Triton Wave Rider is 3 and a blue for a creature Merfolk Wizard at common. It's a 3/3 with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, Triton Wave Rider gains flying until end of turn. Totally serviceable creature. Flyers are in somewhat short supply in this format, so this can be really, really good if you are activating it somewhat regularly, but not a first pick. Up next is Incendiary Oracle. Incendiary Oracle is 1 and a red for a creature human shaman at common. It's a 2/2. Pay 1 and a red. Incendiary Oracle gets +1/+0 until end of turn. If a creature dealt damage by Incendiary Oracle this turn would die, exile it instead. Totally fine creature. Getting to exile stuff is really nice, just like with the Leonin of the Lost Pride. Getting rid of those escape creatures is huge. But the creature itself is pretty mediocre. It can at least trade up for those X4s if you do pay, 2 red. But yeah, I'm not super sold on Incendiary Oracle being anything more than filler, slightly above filler, like the Leonin of the Lost Pride. Never a first pick. Up next is Setessan Training. Setessan Training is 1 and a red for an enchantment aura at common. Enchant creature you control. When it ETBs, it draws a card, and that creature gets +1/+0 and has trample. Totally fine aura. I have been super okay with this card. Replacing itself is a huge effect here, and triggering Constellation in the green-white deck, the green-blue deck, etc. is great. Totally solid card, not a first pick. Up next is Lampad of Death's Vigil. Lampad of Death's Vigil is 1 and a black for an enchantment creature Nymph at common. It's a 1/3, pay 1 generic mana and sacrifice a creature. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If you want a cheap sack outlet for black-red, this is your best bet. It does not get cheaper than this, with the exception of Woe Strider, which is free. Yeah, totally fine card. I would play it generally in most black decks, just as a little bit of extra value, plus a 1/3 for 2 blocks decently. And I think I do tend to want to block with my 2-drops more than I want to be attacking with my 2-drops so far from what I've seen in this format. We'll see what the draft shapes up to. Like Sealed, of course, is who knows what happens in Sealed. But yeah, not a first pick for Lampad here. Up next is Witness of Tomorrows. Witness of Tomorrows is 4 and a blue for an enchantment creature Sphinx at common. It's a 3/4, it's got flying. You can pay 3 and a blue to scry 1. Nice little mana sink there. Good little body. Not little body, sorry, good mid-sized body. And yeah, flyers aren't everywhere. So yeah, it's a fine card. I'm pretty happy with one of these in every blue deck, but I'm never happy first picking it. Up next is Elysian Caryatid. Elysian Caryatid is 1 and a green for a creature plant at common. It's a 1/1. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color, but if you have a 4-power creature or bigger, it adds 2 mana of that color instead. This card's fantastic. Like, this card's actually great, and I think is just easily by a mile the best green common. Currently, this is a standout first pick from this pack. Hopefully the pack gets better. I don't want to be first picking this, but it is a fine first pick, so it's going to hang out in frame. Up next is Towering Wave Mystic. Towering Wave Mystic is 1 and a blue for a creature Merfolk Wizard at common. It's a 2/1. Whenever Towering Wave Mystic deals damage to target player, Whenever it deals damage, target player puts that many cards from the top of their library into their graveyard. So I didn't realize this is whenever it deals damage, not damage to a player. And I don't remember if I realized if it was that many cards or not. I'm still not a big fan of it. There's just better ways to self-mill yourself, and I'm still not remotely sold on the mill your opponent plan. I still think it's very dangerous with escape in the format, and I just don't want to be doing it. I'll keep an eye on it, because if that exists in draft, that's the kind of shenanigans I would love to do, but I'm not quite sold on it yet, and it's never a first pick anyways. Up next is Daybreak Chimera. Daybreak Chimera is 3 white for a creature chimera. At common, it's a 3/3 flyer, but it costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to white. Super solid card here. I think the second best white common at the moment. Dreadful Apathy, that's the only thing that beats it. This curving, especially off of like a Daxos or something on turn 3, is huge. And again, flyers, somewhat in short supply. So I think this could actually be the first pick in some weak packs as well. I think it's a bit of a debate between whether I would take the Caryatid or Chimera, so we can keep that in frame. Up next is Traveler's Amulet. Traveler's Amulet is a single generic mana for an artifact at common. Pay 1 and sack it to search your library for basic land, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. It's fine. If you're fixing, it's great. If you're not fixing, don't play it. That's it. It's not a first pick card. On to our first uncommon. Do we have a foil? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No foil in this pack, unfortunately. Sheol Kraken. Sheol Kraken is 4 and a blue for a creature Kraken at uncommon. It's a 3/5 with Constellation. You draw a card and discard a card if an enchantment enters the battlefield. And it's a May, so you don't have to. Yeah, it's a looter. It's not a looter that you can do on command, so, that's a bit of a downside, but it's a totally okay card. I'm not first picking it over these 2 commons, though. These 2 commons are great. Up next is Archon of Falling Stars. Archon of Falling Stars is 4 white for a creature Archon at uncommon. It's a 4/4 flyer. When it dies, not ETBs, which is a mistake I made at the pre-release, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard straight to the battlefield. Fantastic effect here on Archon of Falling Stars. I love the card. I just don't think it's better than these 2 commons. These 2 commons are huge. These are the 2 of the best commons in the set. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I take Archon over either of these cards, and I love Archon. So Archon can maybe hang out. Archon can hang out over here. Our final uncommon is the Birth of Meletus. The Birth of Meletus is 1 and a white for an enchantment saga at uncommon. Search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Act 2, make an 0/4 wall. Act 3, gain 2 life. This card is deeply mediocre unless your entire plan is getting to the late game. If it is, you're just trying to outlast until you get Kiora Best the Sea God, sure, it's an okay card. But I think most decks just don't want anything to do with this. It doesn't fix your mana. It doesn't ramp your mana. It just makes an 0/4. Gaining 2 life is worthless. This card is just not good in most decks, so it's never going to be the first pick. Our rare is Storm's Wrath. Storm's Wrath is 2 red for a sorcery at rare. Storm's Wrath deals 4 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. It's okay. I'm not a fan of Wraths, though, in limited generally, and I'm certainly not a fan of ones that could potentially do more damage to me than my opponent. This is not necessarily symmetrical. Storm's Wrath is just not a card that I ever find myself playing in limited. I never played Anger of the Gods, etc. So I'm just not super sold on playing this one either. So not going to be first picking Storm's Wrath here, not against these 3 cards. We got a wall for our Birth of Meletus and a mountain. So yeah, a bit of an interesting first pack 1, pick 1 here, which is good. We didn't just grab Kiora Best the Sea God or something like that. So I do think I would prefer the Chimera over the Archon. I love the Archon. I want one in most of my white decks, but Chimera is just stupid good. So Archon's going to head on out. So I think it's between Archon and Elysian Caryatid. And if I'm being super honest, I've seen so much stuff coming out of green that I think I take the Caryatid here. Not only is there great cards in green at common and on uncommon and rare and etc., but this will let us splash super well. We're green-white, say, going into pack 3, and we open a bomb blue card. We can splash it thanks to the Caryatid and being base green. So I am going to take the Elysian Caryatid here. I think it's just a fantastic card. Daybreak Chimera I could see an argument for, as well as the Archon, but I do think the Chimera is just a little bit better. Let me know what you would have taken in the comments down below. Would you have taken the Chimera, the Caryatid, the Archon? Do you really like Storm's Wrath? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. You can always find me over at Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. You can find me at patreon.com/SamannaLeek, where if you can become a backer at the $5 level or above, you get your chance price for all the cards, none of the cards, some of the cards, whatever you happen to want, as Daniel M. did this week. And you can always go over to inkedgaming.com/themanaleak, and that lets them know that I sent you, and you can buy yourself a playmat if you don't want to work your way towards getting a Mana Leak one, which you can at Patreon. Yeah, of course, the easiest way to help out is to like, share, and subscribe. But if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.